Welcome to The Creative Push, an intimate and diverse podcast for creators. Here, artists and makers of all kinds share tips, knowledge, advice, and inspiration that you can learn from. I'm your host, sherioneal, a photographer, artist, and educator. This podcast is part of my Learn and Create platform, helping artists further their education through creativity, art, and business. Welcome to The Creative Push. Today we have Preston James, who's here. He's a singer-songwriter, and he's getting ready to perform at Bands at the Barn. Welcome to The Creative Push.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about yourself and why you chose music.
That's kind of one of those things. I don't know if I really chose music in a lot of ways. I know this sounds cliche. I think a lot of people say this, and music chose them and all that sort of things. That I think it's one of the few things. I love it so much. I wake up every day and I'm pumped to go to work, and I write songs, 5 to 6 days a week, twice a day, and I think it's the only thing that I could wake up every day and get excited to do and go, this is like what I'm supposed to do. And it's probably the only thing I'm qualified to do as well, but it's definitely the thing I'm most passionate about.
Tell me about your childhood and how you got started in music. Did it start at a young age?
It did. I think I was always interested in music. My mom was in the music business a little bit growing up, and my dad played a little guitar around the house, and I was always just obsessed with music that my dad liked growing up throughout. My dad was always into Bob Seger or Bruce Springsteen, the Eagles, the Beatles, things like that. And that was my favorite music my entire childhood, middle school to elementary school, middle school to high school. That was always what I was into, was like rock and roll bands and old country music. Did
either of your parents do music themselves, or they just had a love for music?
No, neither one of them did music per se, professionally or anything like that, but they both were very much appreciators of music.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cheatham County, just a little bit northwest of Nashville, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, Ashland City.
When did you get started in music?
I got started in music when the first time that I fell in love with music. I'd say on a personal level, I got started with music very young. I was always around music. Like I said, my mom was in the business. She was a publicist for a lot of country music acts. So I would go to like sound checks and things like that. And I didn't really know the significance of what that was at the time. I was 4 or 5 years old. I'm over here watching, like Travis Tritt sing or something like that. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And I didn't realize like most kids don't do that, when they get to see what that looks like. So that kind of stuck in my brain, I think, at a young age. But I didn't really get started playing a lot till I was about 14 or 15. And by then, while I was in high school, I was playing gigs a few nights a week after school.
Did it start with learning how to play guitar, or did it start with songwriting, or both?
Songwriting actually came last for me. That's one of the things, is songwriting is maybe my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts. It's really hard. I love performing. I love songwriting. I love singing and playing guitar. But it was not something that when I started playing music, I wasn't able to write songs well. I think I had too much resistance in me, and I wrote songs, when I was young. I wrote songs, but it wasn't what I was most interested in. I think I wanted to play guitar first, and at first I wanted to be Angus Young from AC/DC, or I wanted to be, in ZZ Top. That's what I thought was cool. I was like, I want to be like the guitar player in a rock band. I started singing, I'd say around the same time I started playing guitar, but then I really got into singing, I'd say about 12. And about 12, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this as seriously as I take guitar, because I like it just as much, and it'd be really cool to be good at both of these.
Now, did you go to college?
I don't think there was one maybe in the country that would let me in. I went straight to music. So throughout high school, I played so many gigs, and I played a bunch of shows, and I was already kind of doing it on some level. Not like I thought I was successful, but I didn't go to college. Wasn't my thing. I just played music, every day, and started playing shows. And I was like, man, I want to do this, and I don't think I need to go to college for it. And I was right. I didn't.
Now, do you travel?
I do travel. I play a lot of songwriters festivals. I play a lot of shows. I'll travel in a van with some guys, and we'll go play a full band show here or there, and in bars across, the country, and I do that. Right now, I do not currently have a manager. I am a published songwriter. I write for Kingpin and Warner Chappell, which is a division of Warner Brothers, and I write songs for them, and that's what I do throughout the week most of the time. And you know, but we're writing towards my artist project. I'm about to go and record some music and show it to the world. This will be my debut release.
What would you say your music genre is?
I would say if I had to put one word to it, I'd have to say country music. But you know, country music can mean whatever it means to you. You know, it's a very diverse genre of music. It's music of the country, and the country's got a lot of people. So, but it always kind of leans a little bit classic and a little bit rock and roll too. So I would say it's country, but a little bit more old school, and a little bit more rock and roll, old school country music.
Is there one thing that you wish you'd known when you got started?
I don't know, I don't think so. Really, and that sounds crazy. I guess I would have told myself to quit wearing skinny jeans in high school, probably because that never looked good for a minute. But as far as music, I think all the things, then I look back and I go, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have known that. I think they all happened the way they were supposed to, and I had to go and learn them myself instead of, you know, I could go back in time and tell myself that, but I wouldn't have learned it. Still, I had to learn everything the way I had to learn it, the hard way, really.
What do you feel like's been your biggest failure so far?
Man, I really don't know if I've had a massive failure so far. I do try to keep this in mind. I say this a lot. Everyone's a failure. And even the most successful people in the world are a failure, because I guarantee you they have failed more times than they've succeeded at anything they've done. And that's what it takes to get to success, is you have to fail 1,000 times over to maybe get lucky and figure it out. And so I really don't think I've had a monumental failure that keeps me up at night. I really don't. And maybe I will someday, and I hope not. But
those failures kind of keep you resilient.
I think so. I think failure is good. I'm not really scared about that. I like it. I think it's more of like it's kind of like bumpers. You know, it kind of keeps me in the lane. If I hit a bump here, okay, well, I'm back here. And if I hit a bump here, it's all right, I'm back in the center. I don't really think failure is a bad thing for anyone, really.
You mentioned AC/DC and a couple others as influences. Now, that was more for your guitar.
Correct,
playing.
yeah.
Who would you say your influences are for songwriting?
When I was 15 was when I really started writing songs a lot, and they were terrible. I mean, I was writing songs, and that's the thing is, I tell anybody who's like, oh, I want to write songs, and I said, well, go do it right now, and don't think about it. But as far as my influences go, really was like Chris Stapleton's first album, and it wasn't even big yet when I was listening to it. It was like somebody told me, oh, this guy's pretty good, and I was like, okay, I'll check him out. And in my opinion, he's one of the greatest artists ever. I think he's incredible, and that was kind of what got me into today's country music. Bob Seger, Merle Haggard.
And is that because of your parents?
Because of my parents, and I've always had this super, like, almost nerd aspect to it. I've always looked at music and gone like, oh, I hear this. Where did they get this from? Where did they hear it? And so I dig deeper, and I just keep going back and keep listening to music. I'm always listening to something new. A lot of my favorite songwriters are Nashville songwriters. I grew up about an hour from Nashville, kind of always on the outskirts, wishing I was like, knew these big writers and knew these people and stuff. And so a lot of my favorite songwriters are people that, if you live in Nebraska, you've maybe never heard of, but they've written big giant songs for big artists, and you've definitely heard their songs.
You feel like you have a technique, either guitar or with writing? Do you have you developed a technique, or are you still kind of learning that?
A technique is one way to put it. I would say I'm sure I do. I have a thing that I do, and that's the difference between music and like a lot of other skills. Like, you're either really good at football or you're not. You're either a great quarterback or you're not. And you have your own way of doing things here and there. But music is very subjective, like in the sense of like, there's guitar players that I think are incredible, and some people might not like them, but I love what they do. And it's all subjective. And so I do what I do really well. I go in a writer's room or I play a show and I just try to connect with whoever's there. And I'd say, I love entertaining. I love playing for audiences, and I love playing shows, and I love making art. And I just try to be the best I can on that day. And some days you fall short, but I just try to be the best I can be every day.
When you go in to write with other writers, do you feel like, do you go into it kind of knowing that morning kind of what you want to touch on, or does it?
You may think you know what you want to touch on when you go in there, and it really depends. Some days it depends. If I've got a write I'm really stoked on, I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, we got to write this, and we may end up writing that. We may not. We may end up writing absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, we may accomplish absolutely nothing, and that's got to be okay some days. And it's not even your fault sometimes. There's days when you're co-writing, especially, where you just you swung, as hard as you can, but you just didn't hit a ball, and that's all right.
What does creativity mean to you?
To me, I really only write music for the most part, but I'm creative in a lot of other ways, as I've learned. I read a book recently called The Creative Act that really changed my perspective on what creativity is. I think everyone is creative in their own way, whether you're finding a new way to do an Excel spreadsheet, which I am terrible at. Anything like that, don't let me do your taxes. It'll be a mess. But to me, it's songwriting things, but creativity is whatever it is to you. But to me, it's making music and songs that I like, and I try to make music that people like and make people feel something.
What inspires you or motivates you to create?
I think it's just, I wake up every day playing songs, and I'm just so happy to do it. And I'm just obsessed with it, really. I love playing guitar. I love writing songs. I love playing shows. I love telling stories to people. I love meeting new people. It's the best job in the world, no matter how successful you are at it. There's not a better job ever. It's pretty awesome.
And what do you do when you get stuck?
You get over it and you move on, or you just keep hammering and keep hammering, and eventually you'll get through. Or you got to walk away from it, and maybe the song wasn't meant to be written that day. I really look at it as out of my control. I just am there to do as much as I can, but whether the song gets finished or not is not always in my control, especially when you're co-writing with people.
With this career that you've picked, which is music, songwriting, and being a musician, what do you feel like your biggest struggle is right now?
I'm about to put out my debut project. We're about to go and record some sides. I've got a great team of people behind me. Up to now, it was way harder than it is now, and I'm sure it's going to be way harder down the road than it is now. And I'm totally here for a struggle. I love a struggle, but I'm really content with everything I have going on. I really don't wake up upset or worried about anything I have to do that day. I'm like, I get to go write songs with people who inspire me. I get to go play shows for people who want to see me. It's pretty awesome. But I don't think I'm struggling at all. I really don't think it would be fair to complain about anything.
Well, what do you see in your future?
A lot of people would be like, jet ski and houseboat or something. But I really do envision myself playing shows for the rest of my life. And whether it's 5,000 people or 50,000 people or 5 people, I will be making music for some people somewhere. And that's really what keeps me going, is I love doing this.
Will Nashville stay as your home?
I don't know. I'm kind of from here, really. So I've been here my entire existence. Maybe it will. I love it here. I do love Nashville. I think there's I think the best songwriters and artists in the world all come here for a reason, and they come here to learn their craft. And so as long as I'm, learning and stuff, I'll stay here, but if ever I want to move somewhere else, maybe I will. I don't know.
Is there anything that you'd like to learn that you haven't learned yet?
I probably need to learn to shut my mouth a little more. It seems to get me in trouble every now and then. I hadn't quite wrangled that one in yet.
How do you market your work?
That's never been my strongest suit is marketing my work. But so I will be doing my debut release soon. I have no recorded music release in the world. This will be my first ever project to show the world. So a lot of that will be out of my control. There'll be people helping me and showing me how to do things. And I'm just going to share it to the world and see how it goes.
Having a mom that was in the industry, do you feel like that's helped shape?
I would say yes, it helped in ways that I didn't realize growing up. Because it wasn't like, my mom could never call people and be like, you should write with my son. Or, she didn't have those type of connections. And people weren't going to answer to that if you're a big time artist or a big writer, But what did help me is I was able to see the biggest stars in the world as like human beings. Like I was able to see them before you see them on stage, and the hair and the makeup and things like that. And I was able to see them like in a t-shirt and go, oh, like, yeah, he drinks water and drives a car and does all these things that everybody else does, But you only ever see a lot of times artists in their, on the pedestal. Right. And I think it showed me that like, oh, I could be that, because I'm just normal, but there's times where I go and play shows and put on a performance. Right. So I think it really humanized artistry.
Do you have any advice that you could offer someone starting out on a similar creative path?
Yes, do it every day. Do it every day. Don't and it's easier said than done when you're first starting out. But if you really want to do this, and don't think about it, don't think about moving to Nashville, don't think about writing a song today, don't think about practicing your guitar. Throw that guitar in your car and leave wherever you are and go where you want to be to make music. If it's Nashville, great. If it's Los Angeles, great. If it's, Delaware, I don't care. Go where you think you're going to be able to be the most creative. And then when you get there, just hunker down and do it. And that'd be the only advice I'm able or qualified to offer is just do it as much as you can.
You were on The Voice for a brief time.
I was.
And can you give us a little bit of an idea of how that went and what that meant to you and how it played out?
Well, first off, it's a very different experience than what people expect. It was one of the most fun times I've ever had in my life. I basically was getting paid to live in Los Angeles for a few months. And then we were all sequestered in a hotel, so I'm like living in LA. I could see all the fun stuff, but we couldn't go anywhere. But it was one of those things where I was young. I was 15 when I was on The Voice, so I'm 23 now. So that I'm not good at math. I am from Cheatham County. Don't get mad at me, Cheatham County people. I'm making fun of me, not you.
What year was that?
2016 for sure.
Season?
11. And I was out there for a minute, for a few months, and I had a great time. I had a great time out there. I met my now girlfriend, who we've been friends for a long time. I met her out there. She was also on The Voice. I met some of my best friends in the world out there. But I think what I expected it to be was not what it was. And going into it, I'd seen The Voice before, obviously, and I knew the people you watch on the show, you really don't hear from a lot of them again. And but for some reason, when I went on the show, I thought it might be different because you're kind of in a bubble and you're around other voice people and you're on this TV show, and it's a very strange experience. It's really out of body. Like you're just in another place doing other things. You go here, go do this, do that. You really are just, everything is scheduled for you. There's nothing, you don't really make any decisions. And so it was really, really great time. But I will say it was very, very odd.
In a single day, just give us an idea, obviously hair and makeup and how many takes and how long is it?
Most days were like rehearsal days or working with a vocal coach. And then there's like a few days out of your time there where you're doing hair and makeup and going on TV. That was and I didn't make it very far on the show, to be fair. I would go to like a lesson that day. They had like a vocal coach or something like that. It was just really a bunch of stuff that I did not expect, and then we had a bunch of meetings and things with lawyers and stuff like that. It was very weird for somebody who was like in high school. Now that I've kind of been away from it, I learned that a lot of people see that as their finish line. And there's a lot of people that were on the show with me and who that's still the most impressive thing they've done. And I'm not bashing anybody or anything. They didn't know what to do afterwards. And I didn't either, to be fair. I just kind of was lucky enough to just be like, all right, I'm going to write songs and I'm going to keep doing this after that. Most of the progress I've seen in my life has been after that. I learned a lot from that show. I learned how many amazingly talented people there are in the world. And, it was really a good learning experience for me.
What do you think was the number one best thing from being on The Voice?
Definitely Charity, the girl I'm dating now. 100%. Not even close. And I'm not saying that because she might watch this later. I'm totally not. But I would say definitely we were really good friends for a long time, and we've been dating about 2.5 years now.
So she do music as well?
She does music as well. She's very talented. Artist, songwriter, singer. She's great.
Do you guys write together very often?
Not often at all. And that's the thing. I think when we both get done with it, we kind of want to be able to hang out and do something other than, what we do all the time. It's like, I feel like as a songwriter, you need as much time as a receiver as you do as a transmitter, if that makes sense. You have to take in information, live life to be able to write about living life. You can't write songs about songwriting. I don't think anybody could be able to relate to that.
Where can people find your work?
Coming soon to an internet near you.
You going to release something later this year? Or?
Probably into next year. Okay. We're about to record it. We've just got everything squared away. We'll start releasing singles into my debut EP. So y'all stay tuned.
And you have Facebook,
Instagram, all that good stuff.
Spotify?
We'll be on Spotify. We'll be on all streaming platforms.
And are you on any of those platforms now?
No, this will be my debut release. But I am on social platforms, and I post a lot of videos of my songs and stuff on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, stuff like that.
Well, thank you so much for being on The Creative Push. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. As always, my intention is to offer you inspiration that excites you to want to get out there and create something amazing. Be sure to check out some of the other episodes, and if you like what you've heard, please help spread the word. Give this a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, and share with others. There's more information in the show notes, including links to other great stories, tips, and resources. Drop me a message or comment at any time, and I hope you will sign up to be a part of this creative tribe.